Time now to meet number 4 in our list of 5 candidates for election by you to the position of Police and Crime Commissioner for Suffolk. This is Simon Tobin of the UK Independence Party, UKIP.
I've been in the British Army for 6 to 7 years. I'm an ex-mayor of this region, and I'm also was Vice Chairman of Waveney District Council and portfolio holder for customer service. I'm absolutely passionate of correctly funded services, and one of the things that incredibly concerns not only myself but I know the people of Suffolk are the complete continuous cuts. What is happening is that our fantastic services, be the police, fire, probation services and mental health, etc., are just being slashed to pieces. But meanwhile, we seem to be spending misproportionately on many other things. I mean, you would say from a UKIP point of view, fair one, that we pay £55 million a day to be members of the EU. What is intriguing, of course, is that the police cuts initially was going to be 20 million or 20.5 million over 5 years. Well, let's get this into perspective. We pay 55 million quid a day. We pay 27 million pounds a day on foreign aid. We have a lot more issues now within the police. The police are having to, even within the last 10 years, change the slight dynamics of how they operate. For an example, cybercrime, sexual grooming. There's a lot of what we call backroom crime going on, which isn't front end. We're all for police visibility. It's absolutely critical. I know one of the things that concerns a lot of people in this part of the world is the visibility of the police front end. I'm also very, very concerned of the cutting of the police community support officers, which really were the ears and eyes of our area. I believe in Felixstowe here there were 6, and I believe now that's going down to 3. If I give you a small Suffolk town of, say, Kessingland, that used to have 3 and potentially might not have any. There's 4,000 people in this community where there's a lot of young people, a lot of young kids playing around and that. These people are ears and eyes on the ground. It's critical to keep this going. I'm all for, which seems to be the current situation of the Police Crime Commissioner's office, to go for rural crime. Well, yes, of course we must engage with this, but what is very, very important is you can have a tractor all painted up and saying look after of course rural crime for stealing, etc. So I'm up for that, and in fact the tractor comes free of charge and is painted up by a particular make. Fine, but what about the areas, the inner areas of Lowestoft, Felixstowe and obviously Bury St Edmunds and Ipswich? I'm an ex-probation officer and I've worked with a lot of criminals over a period of time, and these inner towns, be it Suffolk, aren't sleepy towns where nothing happens. There's some serious issues, particularly, by the way, in the migrant world. What would I do differently than the current incumbent? You will get much more visibility on the ground in engagement. You will get much more high profile in the inner towns of Suffolk, and I will set up a complete communication on the ground with the public, which I think is seriously lacking. I won't give you the name, but in front of me about 2 minutes ago, a lady has had a major problem here in Felixstowe, and she just wanted some communication at a police station, and it took a long time to sort it out. In fact, I was going to have to make a phone call for her. These things can happen anywhere, but it just happened in front of us, which would show that the communication and the general feel for people on the ground needs to be improved. By the police stations closing and by these big cuts that have been happening, the public perception is actually feeling very vulnerable at the moment, and I think it's actually getting this message over. The other thing that's happened is neighbourhood community engagement teams have been cut, and then some of these are then being put into frontline operations, etc., etc. So what's got to happen is that the public have got to feel very, very happy with the actual engagement and feeling well looked after. I'll give you an example, a story. This is a true story. A lady in Lowestoft unfortunately had her back fence kicked in a few days ago. Phoned the police. The police said, "Is there anyone out there at the moment?" She said, "Well, I can't see anyone." He said, "Okay, ma'am, in the morning can you take a couple of pictures and email them through, and then we'll put it in as a crime report." Well, with the cuts, this is what happens. This lady does not feel satisfied. This lady is concerned about the situation. It needs to be a report coming in and then followed up. And I'm passionate, report all crime. People must feel confident that when they report crime, there is a backup and a rollover from this. A vote for Simon Tobin is a vote for complete public communication. I will work massively with the police. There is a big difference. Sometimes people come into this job and think that they're sitting there pushing hard on the police. It's a matter of working with the police, with the public to get an end result. Correctly resourced services, stopping cuts, working regularly with public engagement initiatives, and working very, very hard on the inner town's problems, because that needs to be pushed up hard. The Police Crime and Commissioner's Office gets a reasonable amount of money of community engagement, and I want to see people on the ground in the schools and pushing hard, because a lot more work can be done there. So vote for Simon Tobin. You will get a serious change of gears here.